So welcome to the Spendthrift Trust. This is a legal patented trust. I found out about it back in 2020. I'll show you the property that I was talking about, but I do split the trust into two. There's the business trust for 1099 income earners. I can legally say you'll save at least 70% on your federal taxes year after year after year. Many of my clients are saving up in the 90 percentile. And then also if you get everything into the trust, you will not have to file state taxes. So an example I'm using is a gentleman who is in Chicago and Illinois. The state of Illinois has 4.95% state taxes that he's no longer paying on top of saving over 70% in his federal taxes. The beneficial trust is for investors. I don't care if you're a passive investor, if you're a real estate investor, or if you're going to be a stock market, forex, or anything else. So again, it's a distinct line. 1099's one, investors the other one. Most of my clients have just one trust or the other. I do have both. I run 3 online businesses through my business trust, and I do auction houses, bank-owned houses. I have 12 notes, and I have a friend of mine does my options trading for me. I pay him a commission on that. Now, the Spendthrift Trust, I don't care if you have the business trust or the beneficial trust, both trusts are going to save you on federal taxes. As long as you have the trust, you'll never have to pay those taxes back again. So it goes into perpetuity. Worst case scenario, something happens in the United States and we dissolve as the United States. World's going to be in chaos. Trusts might not survive that, but I'm not even thinking what that's going to look like. If Congress decides to change the rules, saying this trust can no longer do what it does, it is a contract. So as long as you have the trust in place before the laws change, they can't go back and break that contract. So once you start the trust, it's a contract that is unbreakable. You're going to have complete privacy. Unfortunately, if you have an LLC, an S Corp, or a C Corp, that's statutory laws. Every state has different laws for what they do with their LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps. And even if you have an attorney open your LLC, the only thing I have to do is a Freedom of Information Act, and I find out the name of the place, I find your address, your phone number, everything else. With this trust, all my real estate, all my notes, all have the trust name on it. When they research it, the law firm's in Texas, so they think I live in Texas. I've never lived in Texas. I moved 4 times since I started this trust, and the law firm knows where I am, but they have never, I have not changed the trust at all. And then a very important thing, Jing and I were just talking about being a landlord. If you have everything in the trust, they cannot sue the trust. It's its own entity. They can only sue the individual. And the famous adage by Nelson Rockefeller, you own nothing, control everything. So I moved to North Carolina in March of 2022. I did not file 2022 taxes in North Carolina. State of North Carolina, as far as they're concerned, I don't live here. My car is in the trust. I get paid in the trust, everything like that. If someone went to go sue me, if I had a car accident, the trust pays for my car insurance, but I have my own name on my driver's license. So I would fix the other person's car, but if they try to sue me for pain and suffering, they can only sue me, and I'm worth nothing to them. Now, this trust is in the tax code 643B, like Bravo. Not making fun of CPAs, but most CPAs only work in the 300 and 400 level. That's where 97% of all tax returns are done. This is way up in the 600 level. It does come from England, way back when King Henry VIII started the Church of England. He got in trouble for chopping off his wives' heads with European states. He started up the Church of England. He went to go tax the lords and ladies, and the lords and ladies of England went back to the Magna Carta. So it is contract law. It has come over from England. The law firm I work on behalf of, it's a private law firm. They have inherited a trust that is turning 350 years old in 2023. So this has been around since we were a colony, and the IRS tax codes were built around it. Most people don't realize the IRS tax code did not go into effect until 1913, when we were getting ready to go into World War I. And not making fun of the Rockefellers and other rich families, they purposely put the taxes towards them so they could save taxes. My whole thing about teaching this is, if we can be like the Rockefellers and save money, why not? I got to find this because I did some research. I want to teach as many other people as possible too. Now, these are the 5 pillars that are super important. Irrevocable means it goes from generation to generation. The Rockefellers Trust is called the Office. It's 7 generations old and has almost 400 people in the trust, all under the same EIN designation, but they have their individual bank accounts that do not commingle with each other. Complex. This means this trust can hold money day to day, month to month, year to year, decade to decade. My mom and dad and 97% of the other trusts out there currently are what's called a family trust. The only thing they're designed to do is to avoid probate when someone passes away, and then it dissolves. My dad's trust, when I finish doing his 2022 taxes, it's going to dissolve all the money in his trust. Well, be honest, we call it the Gibbon Family Trust. All the money in the Gibbon Family Trust is going to have to be divided between my 2 brothers and myself, and then the trust is no more. This trust goes from generation to generation. Discretionary. Whoever is the trustee or trustees can make the rules for any of the beneficiaries. I give an example. I have a husband and wife who have apartment buildings in Los Angeles. Their daughter, unfortunately, is involved in drugs and alcohol. She lives in one of the apartments rent-free. They're requiring her to do 4 random drug tests and pass them to continue to live there rent-free. She turned around and went to go sue her mom and dad, saying that was cruel and unusual punishment. They did go to court, federal court in 9th District. The judge looked at it, he says, you have a decision to make. You can either continue doing the drug tests and passing them, live rent-free, or move out and pay rent. Then he charged the daughter her parents' legal fees because she brought a frivolous lawsuit to that to the court. Don't want to be at their Thanksgiving dinner, it's going to be ugly. Non-grantor. This makes this trust 100% private. When you start up the trust, you are going to find someone who is not going to be a beneficiary, who's going to sign up and sign away to be on the trust. You will need their social security number. If you don't feel comfortable asking somebody for that, either myself or somebody at the law firm can do this for you free of charge. Me personally, I used a family friend, Roy. He was 87 years old. He knew me before I was born. I took him to lunch. I started both the business trust and the beneficial trust at the same time. He had to sign his name 17 times on the two different documents for the business trust and the beneficial trust. Not a big deal, except Roy had arthritis of his hands, and it was very painful for him to do it. So I should have made a better choice than that. And then the last element, the spendthrift provision. Again, this is in the IRS tax code. This trust has gone in front of the U.S. Supreme Court 2 different times. Both times the Supreme Court has honored in favor for the Spendthrift Trust. There's legal documents behind it. If you all want a very good book, it is a textbook for people who are going to be trust attorneys. It is called Scott and Asher. Asher's ASCHER on Trusts, 5th edition. It's very dry. It's not fun to read, but it does go through all the requirements for this trust and every trust in the United States. Now, the business trust, again, you're going to save at least 70% on your federal taxes year after year after year. I don't care if you're a real estate agent, you get paid in 1099 income. I'm a life insurance agent, I get paid in 1099 income. Selling weight loss supplements, either online or in a downline. One of my clients does that. He has in 8 different countries. He has over 1,000 people underneath of him, all selling products on that. He makes he's upline and makes commissions off of them. Brick and mortar stores. I have a New York style pizzeria here in North Carolina who heard me talking about this, and he started the trust because he gets paid in 1099 income. If you're an affiliate marketer or an MLM marketer, that's all 1099 income. You're going to change, you're going to put whatever company it is into the business trust. You're going to change the name on that company. You're going to shut down whatever bank account you currently have, set up a new bank account with the new EIN that you get for the trust, and then just run all your business through there. It's an amazing thing. I've got people saving thousands of dollars doing this. Now, the beneficial trust is for investors. Again, passive investor, real estate investor, crypto miner, stock market investor, options trading, forex trading, royalties. You're going to save this money year after year after year. Short-term capital gains are for anyone who's doing something under a year. Currently, that's 23.8%. Back in November of 2021, two huge bills went through Congress. One was a transportation bill, and one was like a catch-all for everything else. There is a documentation that says they're going to raise short-term capital gains up to 40% for people who are making more than $300,000 a year. They want to tax the rich more than other people. Again, if you have this trust and they change the tax laws, it doesn't matter. You will save those capital gains. Long-term capital gains are 15 or 20%. There's a reason I work with business brokers, because when you sell a business, a gentleman who just sold a restaurant, he started a business from scratch, so he didn't have any startup costs. He sold the business for $3 million. He and his wife, he's 69, his wife's 68. They're moving to Florida to retire. They sold it for $3 million, everything in it, and he's going to save at 15%, $460,000. At 20%, he's going to save $600,000. I'm not the CPA, so I can't tell how much number is the correct number. And as he said to me, I don't care. I'm saving six figures. Sign me up. So again, he wouldn't have to pay those capital gains. He sold the business March 15th, 2023. He would not have to pay those capital gains if he didn't have this trust. He would pay those capital gains April 15th, 2024. And his business broker didn't even know it was going to be that much. And I do have a referral fee I give to people who refer people to me. When I get paid, that person makes $600. I pay them by PayPal, Zelle, or by Cash App. And I actually have two CPAs who I actually mail a check to. They want a physical check put in the mail. It's their choice if they want to do that. Interest income is for anyone who's a passive investor or a forex investor. Forex investors get taxed twice, interest income and capital gains. And that parentheses, that 10% to 37%, that is your tax bracket. In the United States, on the federal level, there's 7 different layers of taxes between 10% to 37%. You'll have to tell me what your tax bracket is. I can't tell you that. That's between you and your CPA, but that's what you'll save year after year after year. Dividend income, so dividend stocks, options trading, day trading, futures trading, all of that. You're going to save dividend income year after year after year. Rent rolls. I have a lot of short-term rentals, Airbnb, Verbo, traveling nurses, long-term rentals, 10 doors, 20 doors, multifamily. Yes, you can take you can take depreciation in the trust just like you do in regular life. But what's going to happen there is you're also going to save from being sued. One of my renters, one of my clients, one of his rental properties had a dog. The dog got loose. He bit the mailman. The mailman went to an attorney. Not making fun of Patrick, he had 2 houses in each LLC, and the attorney found 2 of the LLCs, and each LLC paid the mailman $100,000. So the mailman made $400,000 for a dog bite. With this trust, you won't have to worry about paying any liabilities on that. And then royalties. Royalties can be anything you're doing. An author, an actress, songwriter, an NFT real estate, NFT crypto, or NFT artwork. Now, this is a true statement from the IRS. It's extremely broad. Almost everything you own and use for personal purpose, pleasure, and investment is a capital asset. Scary, scary scenario. I'm a real estate investor. I help seniors move from their everyday home into assisted living, sell their house as is, and then use that money to pay for their long-term care. One of my seniors back in April, we found his son's baseball cards back from the 60s and the 70s up in the attic. The son now lives in Florida. He's like, get rid of them. I don't want them anymore. So I have a connection. The connection, we took pictures of all the baseball cards. He was able to offer the gentleman more money than, let's say he bought 6 baseball cards for a quarter. I'm making this up, but he was able to sell the baseball cards for over $5,000. Again, the original price of how much his son paid for them, and then what he sold them for. That in between, that's where the capital gains comes from. Because the gentleman had this trust, his house, he bought it in 1972 here in Charlotte, and he sold it for over, we bought it for about $30,000. He sold it for over $900,000. So he was able to save capital gains on that too. Now, my first love is real estate investing, and it doesn't matter what you do with real estate investing. It could be wholesaling, fix and flips, buy and hold, REIT. My notes are considered interest income. If you're doing the BRRRR strategy, I get my R's mixed up, but buy, rehab, refinance, repeat, I'm forgetting one of my R's, that's also interest income. Rental income, if you got Airbnb or rental arbitrage or Airbnb arbitrage, you're going to save money like that too. With the Spendthrift Trust, the beneficial Spendthrift Trust, you do away with the need for a 1031 exchange. There's a very tight timeline. You have 45 days to find a third-party representative to handle the 1031 exchange, and then you have 180 days for like property, like property. Every person I know who has gone through a 1031 exchange, unfortunately, has had to rush to figure out the right property put in there. And then if you don't continue the 1031 exchange over and over again, I have spoken to over 9 different grown children. Their parents are either incapacitated, like in a nursing home, or they have passed away. All of a sudden, they're getting a bill from the IRS because mom and dad did a 1031 exchange back in the 80s or 90s. They didn't continue it, and so the capital gains they saved back in the 90s now must be paid. These grown adults are like, I have no idea where this bill came from. And I'm like, that's what happened because of how your parents did their real estate. True story, one of the people who came to a Monday night meeting, his parents are from India. They have 5 apartments up in the Bronx. They're in their 70s. They want to start selling the apartments, leaving the money to the gentleman who came on Monday night and his 2 sisters. We're getting them into the trust. They're making their rent incomes going through the trust. And then when they sell the buildings, they're going to save the capital gains there. It's going to go into the trust. The 3 children, the gentleman who was on the call, his 2 sisters are all beneficiaries, and there will be no inheritance tax. There'll be no capital gains because it goes from generation to generation for them. Now, this is my true story. This Rocky Mount, North Carolina property is what got me into this trust. Back in July of 2020, I bought the contract for $20,000 for a 4-bedroom, 1-bath house in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. It was a bank-owned reverse mortgage. Unfortunately, the woman who owned it had passed away. Banks cannot hold on to real estate. They have to sell it. So my name was going to go on the contract when it went to auction, and the auction was going to start at $50,000. Middle of July of 2020, we're in COVID. It took 13 months. It didn't go to auction until August 28th, 2021. And when it did go to auction, then instead of going $50,000, it went up to over $64,000, and I saved $10,550. The reason I found this trust is because in my national real estate group, I was in the Phoenix group, but I am in the national real estate group. There is a gentleman called Garrett Gunderson who wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. The new title on the book is What Billionaires Do, and it talks about the Rockefellers Trust. It is called The Office, and it talks about how the Rockefellers get to save so much money generation after generation because of this trust. And if either one of you would like a copy of the book, just put your name, your email into the chat. I will send you a PDF copy of What the Billionaires Do. I have a paperback copy, what the Rockefellers do, but the PDF is what billionaires do. It's kind of a fascinating story because he does go through how the Rockefellers did this. Back in July of 2020, I knew that $20,000 to $50,000, that $30,000 spread right there, if I didn't do something, I would have to pay $7,100 in capital gains. And I went through the book and used references and called people, emailed people, sent letters. This is how I found out about the trust and became a client. And then I also became certified to start selling this trust. I used to do a mastermind in my real estate group out in Phoenix until there was a falling out with the gentleman who ran the group. He lied about money. That's why I started my own company, The Trust Is You, back in March of 2022. And now I'm teaching, I'm doing this live Monday night thing. And then I'm also working with, talking to real estate groups. I am flying out to Las Vegas next week. And I'm going to talk to an insurance company, 100,000 agents for their national meeting. I'm going to have a breakout room to talk about how the insurance agents making 1099 income can be saving with the business trust on this. So I'm branching out to help as many people as possible. So in 2021, I saved over $14,000. This is only up until July 31st, 2022. I saved an extra $32,000. I do a very strange thing here in North Carolina called upset bids, where I win the bid and then I wholesale the house. In 2022, I did 8 of these. So far in 2023, we have done one group for 5. I had a person help me out on this. We made over $1.4 million on 5 custom built houses. All of that went through my trust. He too has a trust. He does dividends investing. So we both got to save 6 figures in capital gains on just that one deal. So far, I'm not trying to crow. With dividends, I've saved over $100,000 easily. With interest income, I'm probably about $35,000, $40,000 with my notes. And then with my options trading that a friend of mine does, I'm probably about $20,000 saving in options trading. Now, crypto, I don't care if you're going to be buying and selling, if you're going to be mining, if you're going to be staking, if you're going to have a bot, you're going to save capital gains on crypto. If you follow me on TikTok, my handle on TikTok is thetrustisyou.com, or the trust is at thetrustisyou. One of my most watched videos is a true story about a father who saw my video. September of 2021, he had planned to sell 4 Bitcoins to pay for his son to go to college. He saw one of my videos. He made an appointment with me. I explained to him, yes, you can sell those. You can sell your 4 coins. He got into crypto way back in 2013, I think. You can sell those coins, but you're going to pay capital gains April 15th. The bill was going to be over $19,000. He's just a regular guy working. He works as an IT professional. And what we were able to do was he filled out the application. He got the EIN number. He had to go to his, he's with Coinbase. He had to go to Coinbase, petition them to get the right paperwork to change the name on who's holding the accounts. It did take 6 weeks for Coinbase to get back to him. He was able to change the accounts over. Then he sold the coins, paid for the trust. His son had taken out student loans to go to a school because this didn't happen until late October. Son's in school since September. He turned around, paid off the son's student loans, and then he's going to pay for the son to go through 4 years of college completely paid for. So dad gets to save a lot of money in crypto. Dividend in the stock market and options. This is interesting. You're going to take any profits, subtract any losses, and then whatever's left over, whatever's the profits, you're going to be paying dividend income if it's in the stock market. If you're doing options trading, short term, so let's say it's under a year, you're going to pay 40% in profits. If it's over a year, it's going to be 60% in profits. I personally have 100,000 shares of TMP worldwide. They've gone out of business, but I used to work for Monster.com. The share price was at $99 when I first was awarded the 100,000 shares. It was trading at over $580. Then the CEO got in trouble and they sold the company. So my option shares are useless. Forex investors, I brought this up before. Forex investors are going to be taxed twice: interest income and capital gains. Again, doesn't matter how much trading you're doing, if you're doing it in dollars, if you're doing it in euro coins, if you're doing it in yen, if you're doing it in rupees. If your account is in the United States and you do the account through your Spendthrift Trust, the only thing that's going to change is that your name is going to be the Spendthrift Trust name. You'll save both interest income and capital gains on that. Royalties, NFT, artwork, crypto, NFT real estate, authors, actors, musicians, playwrights, mineral rights, oil wells, or coal, or anything like that. One of my clients inherited his granddad's horse farm in Oklahoma, loves the horses, but granddad also has 6 oil wells on producing oil wells on the property. All his oil well money goes through the trust, saving royalties on there. My right to sell this trust, I get paid in royalties to do that. When I pay referral fees, it's coming from the trust. If the person has a trust, they won't have to pay the royalties on the $600. If you don't have the trust, unfortunately, that royalties are taxed a little bit less, only 10% to 35%. Everything else is 10% to 37%, but you still have to be aware of when you get paid like that. Now, this is something that I have run into because of my real estate investing. IRMA is income related. I don't have the right words, and I put my notebook underneath the computer. But if you're over 65, IRS does a 2-year look back. So in October of 2022, we're in October 2023, they're going to be looking at how much someone made in 2021 to see if they made more than $91,000 from any of this. Social Security, pensions, wages, 401k distributions, capital gains, interest income, dividend income, rental income, or royalties. All combined together, if you make more than $91,000 when you're on Medicare, your Part B, which is your doctors and medical tests, your payment that you make right now, you pay. I was a Medicare broker, and I don't know what it's going to be for 2023. But when I was doing Medicare insurance, it was $148. I think it's now $156. If you make too much money, it's going to go up even higher. Or if you make more than $500,000 in a year, 65 or older, you'll start paying the federal government for Part B. So this is why I want to talk about IRMA. There is a special retirement spendthrift trust. This is especially for people. The gentleman I was telling you about, the 72-year-old gentleman who's moving into assisted living care, mentally, he's very, very stable. He tripped and broke his hip. So this is why he's going into assisted care. But with the retirement spendthrift trust, this is a special trust where one of the beneficiaries takes over the account, becomes the trustee. Whatever the retiree has, it goes into the trust. All that money then will pay for their long-term care. That's the only difference from this than the regular beneficial spendthrift trust. But if someone has the correct mental faculties, I say just get the regular beneficial trust on that. Now, I do believe the 6 inches between your ears is the most important real estate out there. I honestly believe that you should always be reading, learning something new. The joke about the power of your subconscious mind, my great aunt Kitty in Ireland, she always would say, "Oh, I need to take a cat nap and make the decision." And she'd fall asleep, and 5 minutes later, she'd have a decision. Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It's an older book, but it's his entire philosophy is we're not in competition. There's plenty out there to help everyone. This is one of the reasons I do teach the Spendthrift Trust. There is a real estate guru who I have on recording who says he doesn't want people to know about the beneficial spendthrift trust. If you're looking at a possible real estate deal to wholesale in your neighborhood, and it's only let's say 8% rate of return on investment. And you're like, that's a little bit skinny. This guru can sweep in, take that wholesale deal, sell it, save the 8% plus the 23.8%. So he's making 30% rate of return on that investment versus somebody else making only 8% rate of return. He thinks it's he laughs about having this trust. I wish him well. I don't have his reputation. Like he's got a great reputation. I don't have that, but I really think anyone should know about this. I found out about it. If I can save taxes, I want to help other people save taxes. I do have a podcast out there. Stop Paying Capital Gains Now. The reason I named it that is because I deal with bank-owned houses, auction houses, and wholesaling houses. Most of my money does come from wholesaling houses. So that's why I named it Stop Paying Capital Gains Now. But this trust will save you 6 different ways. 1099 income, it'll save you capital gains, it will save you interest income, dividend income, rental income, and royalties. So it's a fantastic thing like that. So let me stop sharing and let me shut off the recording. Give me 1 second. Go away all my things.